to say a few words.
Thank you all. Dear distinguished friends, welcome to Israel and welcome to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Israel. We are delighted to have you here. This is the largest European delegation to Israel since October 7th, and for us it means a lot. You include 160 delegates, distinguished delegates, representatives from all 16 states of the German Federation. Your visit to Israel is a central event marking the 60 years of diplomatic relationship between Israel and Germany. Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, as you know, and I have few words that describe us with very positive terms, but I think at the beginning of your visit in Israel, I let you to develop your own sense of what is your impression and what is your thoughts and experience from Israel. The EU, and I want to touch one important issue in that very short speech. The EU and some member states surprised us in a negative way during the last war, 2 years war since October 7th. Young people were mobilized to side with jihadists who committed massacres and horrific brutal actions against babies, children, and families. Those scenes were received, I would say, in a total shock by Israelis. This is not just an Israeli problem. This is a problem of the entire Western world. I see two core issues with that regard. The first one is the lack of moral clarity. Vague terms that talking about feelings and not facts. Some support of evil. This is, I say, a loss of the moral compass. And it doesn't happen on rare occasions. It's swept through, I would say, top institutions, elite of societies. You can see that from West Coast US throughout Europe. The two bases of the Western civilization. The second one is how easily minds can be manipulated. This is as a result of long-term, large-scale industrial brainwashing by external actors, adversaries to the Western civilization, who do not share our common values. Their goal is to divide and conquer, but this time without tanks and aviation and nothing. There are other methods. The old psychology means multiplied by the most developed technology brings unprecedented results that sweep the Western civilization. The target is not only Israel. The target is all of us, the Western civilization. Our values, our way of living, our system of liberal democracy. This is what someone or some actors find as their target to demolish. The Western civilization and our values are at stake. We should not be naive about that. And it's not only about here or there. The divide and conquer can be expressed in various ways. It can be with regard to climate, it can be in regard to gender, to identity, politics. I would say any issue is a good issue. But one issue is the best currency to use, as I see in the last 2 years. They're using Israel as the best currency in order to brainwash, especially youngsters, but not only, I would say, ignorant and indifferent people. And that raises the risk for our system, for our values, and more than that, chaos will be developed over time. The signs are already here. I am happy that you are here because you'll be able to do what many of your countrymen cannot do, is experience firsthand what Israel is about. As I said before, we are transparent. Our hands are open to our friends from Germany. We highly appreciate Germany's support for decades for the State of Israel, but I want you to judge us individually, not as a country, not as a society, each one with your own experience. And I'm sure, that experience will lead to certain, I would say, opinions, thoughts, feelings that I hope that you'll be able to share with your families and friends back home. I wish you a great visit, great experience, and I hope that you'll be able to come soon, not just as delegates, distinguished delegates, but also as friends and visitors of the State of Israel. Thank you very much.
Thank you to the Director General. I would now like to introduce Deputy Director General for European Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ms. Simona Halperin.
Thank you very much. Bruchim habayim leIsrael. Herzlich willkommen. You know, when we started envisioning how to celebrate 60 years of diplomatic relations between Israel and Germany, there could not have been a better way of celebrating this 60 years long friendship than bringing over 160 representatives representing all 16 federal states of Germany to come, visit, see, learn, meet the vibrant society of Israel, what makes us tick, the challenges we face. And when I say we, it is not we, the Israelis, it is we, all Western civilization, to encounter us here as we are. And the fact, I was walking a little bit around the room and I stopped at one or two of the tables. And at each table, I found the exact composition we wanted to welcome here. Representatives of local government, representatives of science and technology, representatives of companies that are dealing with Israel, representatives of government ministries, and of Deloitte, that is a company that is consulting government. And this exactly is who we want to visit us for this week and bring back, when you go back to Germany, bring back your understanding, impressions, thoughts, experience. Some of you, can I ask you by raise of hands, how many of you have never visited before? Wow. So some of you have visited Israel, but for most of you, it's going to be the first encounter face to face with Israel and Israelis. So I will end by wishing you a wonderful experience here. And on a personal note, this is my first week as Deputy Director General for Europe. So we're in this together. Thank you.
And finally, I would like to welcome the Ambassador of Israel to Germany, Ron Prasor.
Well, we already spoke on the plane. I know you had a long journey, and the minister will arrive in a second. So I want to really touch on two things. One, the special relationship, and it's worth, I know some of you know, why, for me personally, but also for the Israeli Foreign Ministry, Germany is a special case. My father, Ulrich Poskauer, and I'm using the names, okay, with his sister, Lieselotte Poskauer, and my grandparents, Elfriede and Bertolt Poskauer, lived in the Eisenstahnstraße 3 in Berlin. My grandfather was a highly decorated Prussian officer. The marriage was a military marriage. They had to flee Germany, and I feel very fortunate. Just think of a family that had to run away from Germany to be the representative of the nation state of the Jewish people in Germany. And this is why this relationship is so dear to me and also to the Foreign Ministry of the State of Israel. And the fact, and Simona just mentioned it, that you represent the future of Germany. And the future of Germany is the responsibility to build a better future, especially to understand modern Israel and what Israel is all about. And basically, after a week and really looking at Israel, beginning to be our ambassadors. I'm very, very cautious in giving a rank of an ambassador so quickly after a week. But in this case, we will give you some discounts. People worked very hard in the ministry and in our embassy to, I think, put together an amazing program for you to see the diversity of what Israel is all about. I want to thank the people in the ministry and Daniel Asheim, where are you? That really, while I was mostly, that worked on this while I was in the jacuzzi. I mean, this is leadership, Eden, you know? We wish you to come back with more questions and answers, then we know that you really understood something about the state of Israel and the people of Israel. תודה רבה, ברוכים הבאים.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. We'll now proceed to the auditorium for the remainder of the evening. Good evening and shalom, distinguished guests. My name is Emily Schrader. I'm an Israeli journalist, and I'm honored to be your host this evening. Please turn your attention to the screen for an introductory video celebrating 60 years of diplomatic relations between Germany and Israel.
Von der Spree in Berlin bis zum Strand von Tel Aviv, vom Toten Meer bis zur Nordseeküste, von der Knesset bis zum Bundestag. Kulturelle Brücken verbinden unsere Menschen. Heute feiern wir 60 Jahre diplomatische Beziehungen. Uns verbindet so viel und unsere Freundschaft wird immer stärker. 1965, nur 20 Jahre nach dem Ende der NS-Herrschaft, wagten Deutschland und Israel diesen mutigen Schritt. Ein politischer und menschlicher Meilenstein. Unsere gemeinsame Erinnerung an den Holocaust ist nicht nur Gedenken. Sie ist das Fundament unserer Freundschaft, Grundlage für Dialog und Zusammenarbeit. Seitdem hat politische Zusammenarbeit Frieden und gemeinsame Werte gestärkt. Gemeinsame Initiativen in Regierung, Sicherheit und Diplomatie zeigen unser Engagement für Demokratie und Freiheit. Innovation, Austausch und Zusammenarbeit gedeihen weiter. Von Start-ups und Forschungsprojekten bis zu Jugendprogrammen und zivilgesellschaftlichen Initiativen. Gemeinsam schaffen wir bleibende Verbindungen. 60 Jahre diplomatische Beziehungen sind ein Beweis für die Kraft der Versöhnung. Deutschland und Israel, vereint in Werten, gemeinsam für Demokratie, Vielfalt, Freiheit und gegenseitiges Verständnis.
Israel und Deutschland 60 Jahre zusammen.
At this time, I would like to again welcome Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar, Director General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Eden Bartal, Political Director Ambassador Yossi Amrani, Ambassador of Israel to Germany Ron Prasur, German Ambassador to Israel Stefan Seibert, and our dear guests from Germany. We are delighted to welcome you here in Israel and we wish you an interesting, fruitful, and of course, enriching visit. This year, we mark 60 years since the establishment of diplomatic relations between Germany and Israel. The delegation we're welcoming today represents all the states of the German Federation: Berlin, Baden-Württemberg, Bavaria, Brandenburg, Bremen, Hamburg, Hesse, Lower Saxony, Mecklenburg, Western Pomerania, North Rhine-Westphalia, Rhineland-Pfalz, Saarland, Saxony, Saxony-Anhalt, Schleswig-Holstein, and Thuringia. This delegation is one of the most important and significant events of the 60th anniversary of our relations. In the 60 years that have passed since the establishment of these crucial diplomatic relations, we've come a long way. The ties between our countries, which began only 20 years after 1/3 of the Jewish people were murdered by the Nazis, were built on the foundation of Holocaust remembrance. Alongside that memory, we have succeeded in building a dialogue between our peoples, a close and friendly relationship based on friendship and close cooperation in a wide range of fields. The first steps in the German-Israeli dialogue were difficult, painful, and complex. For many years, we have walked slowly and carefully along a long road toward the building of new bridges, new friendships, and sincere dialogue in all areas of life. The future lies with the young. This is why Germany and Israel are committed to preserving the special relationship that has been forged between these two great nations for future generations as well. Your visit to Israel is an expression of both countries' desire to continue and maintain the important dialogue between our peoples. This visit will allow you to get to know Israel, its complexity, its diversity. We welcome you as friends, and we wish you a meaningful and successful visit. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to invite Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar to address us.
Good sign. Guten Abend. I did it right, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegation from Germany, good evening. Welcome to Jerusalem. It's really great to see all of you here this evening. You are the next generation of Germany. I rewrote the speech that was prepared for me during the last hour. So there's something in it from me. Let me be candid. Relations between Israel and Germany will never be taken for granted. In the 50s, the debate over forming relations with Germany and the repressions toward Israeli society apart, and also were one of the hugest discussions in the Knesset. Since then, a consensus emerged. It was the right historic decision of Israel's first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, together with Chancellor Adenauer. But these relations will always be complicated. They will always require special efforts to uphold and establish. Let me be candid. We see warring trends among Germany's new generations today. There are polls showing a desire of the young generation to break free from the past and the special relationship that stems from it. And in a way, I can understand that, but I cannot accept that. Let's set aside guilt. It's a term that doesn't belong to your generation or the following ones. Instead, I propose responsibility. Not responsibility for what happened, but responsibility for what happens from here on. Your responsibility is firstly to get to know the daily reality in Israel 2025. Therefore, it's so good that you are here today. This responsibility means to actually stand by the world's only Jewish state. Since its birth, it has fought for its very existence. And still, a real danger of elimination hangs over its head. This delegation, with 160 members from 16 German states, is a bright promise for the future. Use exchanges between Israel and Germany. I just spoke about it with your Minister of Education that visited Israel a few weeks ago, are crucial for ensuring the future of the relations between our nations. Relations between governments are never enough. Relations between people gives depth to the relationship between nations. Friends, Israel is a proud, strong, resilient nation today. The Zionist revolution cut off an ongoing historical process of 2,000 years in which the Jewish people experienced persecution and elimination. It was able to happen only because we were defenseless everywhere. That is why we are a small nation, even though we are representing an ancient civilization, even though we should have been one of the largest nations on earth today. The Holocaust was the horrific peak of this ongoing, painful history. Unbelievably, today, only 80 years later, anti-Semitism is back. You wrote in style, I would say in fashion. No? What's more right? It's fashionable. Anyhow, it's fashionable again. For 80 years, people were ashamed to be anti-Semitic, but that has passed, and we must realize that. You see it, and you know it, and I don't need to preach about it, but this is also Europe in 2025. The duty of Europe, on whose soil the Holocaust occurred, and Germany specifically, is to fiercely fight anti-Semitism. And I would say that in certain aspects, we saw Germany taking a leading role on that, with outlawing some of the most terrible expressions, which means the elimination of the State of Israel, but in a way that understand that there are cases when freedom of speech cannot include this kind of expressions. My friends, the modern anti-Semitism is anti-Zionism. Denying the Jewish state its right to exist and denying its right to defend itself. Zionism means restoring the Jewish people's ability to defend itself, by itself, in its homeland. And the truth is that the only thing ensuring our survival is our military force. You will see here maybe great science, great research, great health services, great culture achievements, but none of them can exist without our military power. We are not asking, and we never asked, any country to fight for us. We proved that we know how to simultaneously fight off many states and terror states. For 77 years since Israel's establishment, we have never known a moment of quiet. We are not complaining when we remember the history and understand the alternative. We ask for a minimal diplomatic support from our friends for a nation under a military and political siege. My friends, there is a new obsession in the world, and mainly in Europe, that lacks any geopolitical logic. We are facing three terror states, a unique phenomenon in the Middle East. I want you to understand, these are not simply terror organizations. Terror organizations that control land and populations become terror states. And it's like comparing between neo-Nazis that exists in the world today and the Nazi regime who controlled a territory and people. And of course, the danger that was the result is totally different. So we must understand, what does it mean that terror organization take over a territory, like happened in Gaza with Hamas, like happened in Lebanon with Hezbollah, like happened in Yemen with the Houthis, and this phenomenon become more and more shchicha, common, very easy, common in the Middle East today, and I think I'm starting to see it also in Africa, in the continent of Africa, when nation states becoming weaker, these terror organizations are entering to this vacuum, but when they control a territory, it's very hard to dismantle them. But to live next these threats, it is almost impossible, because you know that every day they become stronger in unbelievable way. We withdrew from Gaza Strip on 2005. On 2007, Hamas took over, and everything he had done building the biggest terror kingdom on earth, above the ground and under the ground, he had done until October 2023, within 16 years. The terror states in Gaza, Lebanon, and Yemen have not yet been dismantled. Maybe there will be an effort now with the international force to do it in Gaza. The government of Lebanon faced difficulties to do it in Lebanon. It was not achieved until now on any of these fronts. But some people are quick to suggest that we will establish a Palestinian terror state in the heart of our tiny homeland, means 2 kilometers from the place we are sitting right now. It would control the topography over all our population centers. And this is what they suggested. This is what they suggest it to us after October 7th, even though it's clear that such an experiment would only lead to another terror state, at least in the conditions we all of us know about the Palestinian society and the Palestinian political map. A Palestinian state will surely be a Hamas terror state as much as it took 1.5 years for Hamas to take over Gaza Strip after our withdrawal. And at that time, the PA had, I believe, 777 or 888 forces than the Hamas had on 2007 in Gaza Strip. I'm happy to note that in contrast to France and the UK, Germany didn't recognize a virtual Palestinian state. And that was the reasonable and responsible thing to do, even though it still believes in what some of the people call a two-state solution. After Israel made the huge concessions in the Oslo Accords by establishing the Palestinian Authority and in it unilateral withdrew from Gaza, it experienced results that did not only push peace further away, they made the security situation worse. Therefore, the people of Israel today are very cautious on risking the security and the future of the Jewish state. It's the same people, Western people, seek peace, don't want their sons and daughters to fight in wars, but learn something from our experience during the last 3 decades. And that must be understood because it's the same people and the same nation. Ladies and gentlemen, this year we mark 60 years of diplomatic relations between Israel and Germany. Our special relationship is rooted in our painful history. The bond between our nations should be strengthened. It is strategic. But the relations between Israel and Germany are not just between governments, as I said. They are between people. This is the reason why you are here today. This extraordinary and diverse delegation is a testament to that 160 representatives. Israel, like Germany, like your delegation, is a country of diversity. You now will have the opportunity to see modern Israel with your own eyes, with everything it entails. And it's probably very different from what you saw on TV. But that will be your impression. And I wish to meet you before you leave. Israel is a small, young, vibrant, dynamic, democratic country. It maintains a stable democracy since its establishment under the most difficult conditions you can imagine. Therefore, only Israel is the true ally of the democratic world and of the Western way of life in this dangerous region. We want you to be the foundation of the future relations between our people. We want to work together to make the world a better place. Thank you for coming to Israel, and I wish you all a successful and enriching visit. And I will apologize. I know the moderator should have done that for me, but all these people sitting in this table, they don't need to be elected. They are permanent in this ministry. But I need to be elected And therefore, I need to be, I always said to my friends, you don't have representatives without voters. That's the deal. You need to contact with the voters. So I'm going there. All the best for you. Have a great time in Israel.
Thank you, Minister Sar, for those words. Please turn your attention now to the screen for a message from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Our friends from Germany, welcome to Israel, welcome to the Foreign Office. There are two main goals that I see for this important meeting. One is to strengthen our ties with Germany. We've had a long-standing relationship. It's one that is steeped in history, often tragic history, but in recent years, of course, the burgeoning relationship between the democracy of Germany and the democracy of Israel. And we want to strengthen it. Your visit can help do that. The second reason is the truth. We want to dispel the lies, the many vilifications that are put forward in Europe and in the international press against Israel. I hope and I'm sure you'll find opportunity here to discover the truth and then, most important, to tell the truth. Welcome.
And gentlemen, feel free to begin eating, or as we say in Israel, b'teavon.